Seth and I wanted to show you a detailed look at a round of War of Kings. We had shot this overhead footage a few months ago during a 6-person playtest, and we thought it would be just the thing to give you a glimpse into War of Kings gameplay. Each player begins the game with 5 timber, 7 wheat, 7 cattle, 2 stone, and 7 gold, which have already been distributed to the players. Each player has also already set up their core domain. Let's zoom into the yellow player's position to see the setup, which is the same for each player. As you can see, the player has a town in their capital territory, a village in this territory, and these two territories are connected by a road. The player has control of 2 other territories. There are also control markers in the territories with the settlements, indicating that they are controlled by the player, since the color of the settlements indicates its cultural affiliation. There is also a forwardly deployed army in the territory with the village. Let's check out what that means for resource production for the player. Here is the yellow player's economic ledger. This will help the player keep track of the resources that she is entitled to when the resource dice are rolled. The player has control over a blue territory with a primary resource of stone, and control over a yellow territory that has a primary resource of cattle. Having control over a territory entitles the player to one of the territory's primary resources if its color is rolled. So 1 stone is recorded for blue, and 1 unit of cattle is recorded under yellow. The player has a village in the green territory she controls, which entitles her to 2 units of the primary resource, wheat in this case, when that color is rolled. So a 2 is placed under green for wheat. A town is in the capital territory. A town entitles the player to 3 primary resources and 1 secondary resource if the color is rolled. Here, the primary resource is timber and the secondary resource is wheat, so a 3 and a 1 are marked down for red. The players also begin the game by generating 9 gold. Settlements only generate gold if they are connected to the capital territory by the road network. The town is in the capital, so it generates 6, and the village generates 3, so 9 gold is recorded. The player also starts off with 3 achievement points, 2 for the town and 1 for the village. Now, even though the starting setup is the same for each player has different resources on different colors. That way, all of the players are generating different kinds and quantities of resources when the resource dice are rolled during the construction phase. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you are going to see is the 3 resource dice being rolled. You see the results are yellow, red, and blue. In this case, this means that the yellow player would collect 1 unit of cattle, 1 of stone, 3 timbers, and 1 wheat, as well as the 9 gold to which she is entitled. Resource generation happens at the top of the construction phase, which is played simultaneously by all of the players. So everyone collects their gold and resources and then begins building settlements, upgrading others, constructing roads, raising armies, and trading with other players. This simultaneous play mechanic is an important and exciting part of War of Kings. As we watch, we can see trades being made, new villages being built, roads being laid, villages being upgraded to towns, and new armies being recruited. When an army is recruited, a moved token is placed beside it to indicate that it can take no further action this round. By building and upgrading settlements, the players increase their economic productivity. The yellow player, for example, by building a village in this territory, will now be entitled to 2 units of stone when the resource dice roll blue on a future turn. She also makes note of the additional achievement point that building that village earned her. This village will also generate 3 additional gold for her next round, since she did link it to her capital with a road. That brings us to the conclusion of the simultaneous construction phase, and play passes into the phases that are played sequentially by each player. In these phases, the players can move armies, explore territories, and will resolve any combat they may have initiated. The yellow player is the lead player for the game, and so she starts her turn by rolling the event dice. She rolled possession of a red. She checks her kingdom, and of course she does have possession of a red territory, her capital territory. So this entitles her to draw an event card. She reads it to herself and keeps it to play later in the game in order to gain an economic or military advantage. Then she moves her army into the territory right ahead of it and draws a discovery card. It indicates that she is able to capture the territory without incident, and so she places her control marker in it and updates her economic ledger to indicate that she will receive an extra unit of cattle on the roll of a red in the resource generation phase. She also puts a moved token by her army to indicate that it cannot be moved again this round. Her armies have taken no damage, and her town allows her to support one army anywhere on the board, so play passes to the next player. The red player rolls the event dice and finds that the orange emblem on the resource die has been rolled. This means that he draws a Mallador card and immediately resolves it. In this instance, however, the card potentially would have made a settlement in possession of a player that is not of his or her culture to rebel. However, being the first round of the game, there was no situation to which this card applied, and so it was simply discarded. The red player moves his army and draws a discovery card. The card allows him to collect extra resources of the kind present in the territory. Those are collected and added to his stockpile. The player takes control of the territory and adds a moved token to the army. Play then passes to the white player. The white player rolls the event dice. They indicate that she would need to have a town in a yellow territory in order to draw an event card, which she doesn't have. So then she moves her army into a new territory and draws a discovery card. The card indicates that she has discovered an ancient roadway system, and this allows her to place 2 roads from that territory into any other 2 adjacent territories. She places the roads and then places her control marker in the territory. A moved token goes by the army, and play passes to the purple player. The purple player rolls the event dice. They indicate that he can draw an event card if he has at least a village in a green territory. He does, and so draws the event card and saves it to play at the appropriate time. He also moves his army into a new territory, but when he draws the discovery card, he finds that the Mallador have a walled village garrisoned by 2 armies in the territory. The card permits him to withdraw if he so chooses, and he does. Play then passes to the black player. The black player rolls the event dice and draws the event card to which he is entitled for having a village in a green territory. He moves his army out and draws the discovery card. He finds 2 Mallador armies in the territory which surround his army and compel him into a round of combat. The player to his left rolls for the Mallador, and they are able to destroy the black player's army. An orange Mallador control marker is placed in that territory as well. Play then passes to the blue player. The blue player rolls the event dice. They allow him to draw an event card if he has at least a village in a yellow territory, which he does. His capital is a yellow territory with a town in it. He draws his event card and keeps it handy. He moves his army off to a territory on the right and draws the discovery card. His army encounters a minor plague while exploring. He rolls 1 red combat die and would have taken a point of damage if he had rolled swords, but fortunately his army made it through undamaged. And that completes 1 full round of War of Kings. The moved tokens come off the board, and now it's time for round 2. The resource dice are thrown, and it all begins again.
War of Kings is available on ravenkeep.net. Shop now and get it for your table.